Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page podcast. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. So settling in today because it's very chilly on the south coast of England. It is -2 and I am feeling really cold. I've got a hot water bottle, I'm wearing a scarf, I'm holding close a very warm cup of tea, and it does feel quite wintry and crisp, but I can see blue sky and it is a little bit of a cold frosty morning, and I've started the day with some porridge oats. They sadly weren't hot. I thought I'd do something a bit different. I thought I'd mix some porridge oats in with yoghurt. So these are cooked porridge oats in with yoghurt and a blueberry compote. Now apparently that is the Nordic way to start the day. So there we go. That felt very healthy and it has actually kept me going until nearly lunchtime, and I can, looking at the clock, thinking I'm not actually hungry. So those oats have set me up for the day, and here we are having a wonderful podcast, just connecting in with you all and just feeling a little bit more healthy because I have been feeling under the weather recently, but I'm bouncing back, I'm pleased to say. So thank you for your kind comments and for watching the YouTube videos. I have been doing lots of prompts and things for my latest journal, which is the Marianne North Journal, and that has been a very interesting time to start learning about a painter from the 19th century, where we were in 1869 and she embarked on her intrepid adventures across the world to have a look at all the different flora and fauna that she could find to paint. And she was an oil painting artist that had a keen eye, and she absolutely loved colour. So the journal that I'm making is a colourful rendition of and honouring her work and her life, and just taking forth that travelling bug, that pioneering spirit and that fearless energy to move forward and keep going. And that's the message and the topic of today, to just keep going. And I am talking about any artistic endeavours that you take on board. So we had a little chat on the last podcast about finishing up projects, and maybe you thought, I don't want to do that. I don't want to finish a project. I don't want to finish something. I'm happy with it being kept away. We'll come to it another time. Well, maybe if that was your decision and you perhaps thought about it, even if you didn't take it out and have a go for 20 minutes, maybe that's enough to tell you that perhaps it's time to move that project on, and even pass it on to a fellow crafter, somebody that maybe could take that on as something that they would like to do as a challenge and relieve you of that niggling little back of your mind thought that one day you will finish that project. Set it free and move on and keep going. So that is the message of this week. If you don't want to revisit the past and the old projects because you have changed and your ideas are fresh and new and your techniques have developed and you're no longer wanting to go back because that feels like a reversal, maybe you're not in that same time frame, that energy, that mode. You don't need that then, do you? You need to create new and fresh and what feels right to you today, not what felt right a few years ago. So I think those projects, as much as they are wonderful, they are probably best served passing on to somebody else, and you can do that by gifting them to the charity or the church, the Goodwill or church fates, or anybody in your crafting community that may want to take on a project and certainly be able to use some of the supplies that you probably have for crafts that you are no longer interested in. That doesn't mean to say you can't do it. It just means that there is a whole cornucopia of crafting supplies and other techniques out there, and we're built to learn and evolve. So maybe things that you did from your past are no longer inspirational to you, and it's not helpful. So those things are just taking up space. And if you haven't got a lot of space, then free yourself of it and bring in the fresh and the new in the new year. So yes, moving forwards. I think when you do embark on a project and you are looking at it, there's going to always come a point where you look down and you think, oh my goodness, what have I created? What is this? There's that point in any task or project where you look down and you think, it's that point where we either give up and put it to one side and come back later, or we keep going. We just think, keep going, keep adding on something else. What else can I put onto it? It looks like a hot mess now, but if I just add a little bit of grey splatter and an extra embellishment, could it look like something I'm happy with? And I have found that in nearly all of my projects where I start to look down and think, oh, what have I created? The best advice is to keep going. Ink round the edge, have a look at it in a different pair of eyes. Take a break, take yourself away from your desk. You've probably been focusing in on it for too long. Go and get a drink, rehydrate, get a snack, just exercise, walk around, get the blood flowing, and then come back and look at it again and think, oh, actually, I think I could add this, maybe a bit of lace, maybe a different element, maybe a picture, a big focal point, a butterfly. Everybody likes a butterfly or a bee. And start putting these extra things on. I think sometimes with a junk journaling piece or a mixed media piece, more is more. And sometimes you just feel an extra bit will take it to another level. And it'll certainly give you a new perspective. Even if you're not sure, just don't stick it down, just layer it on at first and see how you like it then. And before you know it, you will have got some more ideas and you'll be back on track and gleefully adding things and feeling the joy once more. But don't be held back by old projects, and don't put them to one side if you don't know how to finish them. Either add something extra, don't stop until you've got something in front of you that you're proud of. Work it and keep working it. And it really shouldn't take you that long. If you're embarking on a project that you know is going to take you over 2 or 3 days, perhaps the project is too big. Break it down into smaller pieces, a smaller project that you could easily complete in a morning or an afternoon. And if you're enjoying it and want to take it further, then that's fine. But I think with junk journaling, a little ephemera piece should really only be an hour or a few hours or a morning session, and to have that lovely gratification at the end of it, to feel like you've accomplished and you've achieved something, is helpful for your journaling, your art and creative journaling. You don't want to be spending hours and hours on a lengthy project unless you're making the journal from scratch. But for making ephemera pieces and doing daily journaling, you must keep the project small and straightforward. And when you get to a point in the middle of it, I'm not sure that this is going to be any good, keep going, stick something down on the top. You can always paint it, you can always glue over it, you can always add another background sheet or a piece of music paper or something with some interesting ephemera. Keep going, add scraps, collage in, sew down something. There's always something that you can add that will give it a little bit more oomph that you're happy with. So the message is to keep going in your week, in your day-to-day, but keep going in your journaling projects as well, so that we minimize the amount of unfinished projects, because they will mount up and they'll become a pressure, and you'll start to feel like you haven't achieved as much, or you shouldn't be taking on more. You shouldn't start a new thing because you've got all these other things going on. So either just clear them out and get rid of it and start again with the process of making things and keep the projects smaller, or revisit your past projects and just see, would somebody else like those? Could they do something with them? Are they made of fabric? Could that be unpicked? Could we add a bit more to it? Could we sew it down to something else? Could we turn it into a booklet? Could we turn some of that into a tag? Could we chop it up? Could we paint it? Could we dye it? Could we add some textured paste to it? And just have a look at those things so that they don't mount up and become in the back of your mind a niggling problem of stuff that another thing that you haven't completed. You don't need that in your life. We're moving forwards. We're rolling stones here, rolling stones. We're gathering no moss and we're gathering no unfinished projects. So clear those things out. We're not taking them through to the new year. We are going to just deal with the here and now and plan for the future. That is the thing that will set us free and take us forwards and keep us young and fresh and our minds alert. But being bogged down with the past, no, it doesn't help you. That was yesterday. We've done that. We are moving on to tomorrow. Okay, and always keep that in your mind as you hurtle towards 2023. And then what else could we talk about? So we have got the different season changing. We're now, certainly in the UK, we're moving into colder, cooler months. That's going to bring about a different environment in our craft room. So wherever you are in the world, you might be experiencing more heat than you had before. And in other parts, you might be experiencing a lower light and or no light at all. You might only have a few hours of daylight, and it can get quite dark, and it is for many, winter can be quite a challenging time, because we all feel more invigorated when we've got the light, bright sunshine shining in at us or glinting off freshly laid snow, wherever it is in the world that you are coming from. The season change does bring about a different way of crafting, because we have to adapt in our craft rooms and we have to be comfortable. That's really important. So if you're cold, can you make sure that you're wearing nice warm footwear so that when you're sat at your craft desk, you're underneath the table, you have at least got some nice comfy furry boots or some fluffy slippers or socks or sheepskin cozy moccasins, something that you feel comfortable in. Loose clothing but warm, lots of layers and heating enough to keep you mobile and to enjoy the experience. We don't want to sit there and get too cold. So for me, it isn't warm in the craft room. I haven't got the heating on, particularly in the UK. We're trying to conserve on our electric due to many reasons that are happening around the world. We are being limited on our electricity supply and how much we can use, because it has become extortionately expensive. So we've got to work out clever ways to get around that. But don't worry, because we will. Because we're survivors, aren't we? We're great creative people. We come up with these alternative ideas that others haven't thought about. So at the moment I'm sitting here with a hot water bottle strapped to my back and it's warming my back and it's lovely. And who knew that was the place to put it, to just get that central heating going within in myself. And as long as my hands don't get too cold, I can carry on crafting and keep going. So the important message is to keep going whatever you are faced with. If you are in intense heat, then have you got the right fan system? Have you checked that your aircon is working? And just plan for the months ahead to allow for you to sit and have some creative journaling time just for you every day. Make sure that you have the right clothing and you've got all the things around you. So when you're sat to your desk, have you got a drink? Have you got a little snack? Have you got hand cream? Have you got lip balm? These little things that make us feel comfortable, personal things that make us want to sit there and enjoy the experience. And the things that maybe you like to spritz your face with water to cool you down, or certainly have a scarf to wrap round your neck so that you don't get a chill. Whatever environment you are crafting in at the moment, just make sure it's comfortable and cozy and that you are loose and free to move, but remaining in the right temperature so that you can not be frustrated and just be allowing the creative process to take place without your environment affecting your mood. So we need to keep our mood constant during the process. And you could be angry journaling, you could be moody journaling, you could be feeling all sorts of emotions. You're not always going to be upbeat and happy. If you had to come to your craft table and be upbeat and happy, you certainly wouldn't be crafting every single day, because that's a real ask. We're real people with real raw emotions, and we come to the craft table in whatever state we can get to it. But by crafting, often we do find joy and we do settle in, and we can create that relaxing place in which we feel comfortable and able to express ourselves, take ourselves away from our daily lives, and just have that breather from the media or the busy world of chaotic, crazy that goes on, and just unwind. Just breathe. Just relax. You're okay. You're going to be okay. And the world is a very fast moving pace out there, but it's one you've known. It is your world and you are part of it. And you have every reason to be here as much as everybody else. And therefore, you make you comfortable. You get into your space and you center yourself. Make sure that you're all right, and then you can help others and come from it at a nice, confident place of strength. So relax today. Get your temperature right, get comfortable in your chair and just create something. And if you get to a point of, I need to put this aside, just take one more look, and could you just add anything else to keep going and turn it into something that you walk away from feeling uplifted and proud of, something that you're happy to put in your journal and feel like punching the air at your achievement. Keep going until you get one of those moments this week, and you'll feel the joy of junk journaling. So thank you all for listening to the podcast. This has been episode 14. I look forward to being here for the next episode, which will be coming out shortly. It's from the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie, and above everything else, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye-bye now.